So when we're talking about the cubic function, talking about the transformations on the graph, how does it move, up, down, left, right, the h is going to tell you how to go left or right, because that's the x goes left or right. The k tells you go up or down, because that's y, it goes up and down, yeah? Well then when we come over to the cubic function, guess what? It's the same thing. Yes?
How are we going to use this later on in life?
And with some sun and with some rain, a little shelter from the pain.
I think core classes shouldn't be mandatory, especially if that's not what you're going to major in.
So you should have the sheet from the middle of the table in front, and we're going to be talking about the portfolio that you started today. If you look at the section 1, and then before it, it tells you exactly what I want you to get done today, and that is, I want you to combine the things for section 1, and I want you to make your cover page.
I think core classes are somewhat important, but some kind of important, but kind of not important.
For the most part, kids who are considered academic tend to be good hoop jumpers. They've figured out the system and can navigate their way through the predictable demands of the system.
Well, my honest opinion on core classes, I believe that they're actually very useful and very functional in what you need to learn and what you need to do.
I think they are helpful, but only if you need that credit. I'm more of like a fine arts kind of person, so I'm never going to use this in life.
Okay, so pretty much all of this is based on number sense. You're just making sure that you understand the relationships of the numbers. Why do numbers do what they do? Why does it mean that? What is it actually telling you? What is the information that it's going to be given?
Like if they're making you take classes that you don't want to take, that you're not majoring in, then there's no point, because that's going to make students want to skip those classes.
So if you were presented a problem in life, and you couldn't figure out how to do it, you have to have some kind of logical reasoning, sequential knowledge in order to be able to find the conclusion. You have to have the problem-solving skills in order to be able to work through a problem. It doesn't matter if it's some kind of an algebra problem or if it's just any kind of problem that you're facing in life. You have to have that logical reasoning, problem-solving, find your way through the problem.
51% of students say they do not use skills learned in core classes after high school.
There's a lot of beef about that among the students because the core classes are English, math, science, and history. And some of them appear to not really help you after high school. For instance, I have never used calculus in my adult life.
English is useful because it teaches you, how to read and write and stuff like that. But I mean, you're never gonna like read a book and be like, oh, diction, wow, I found it. Or figurative language, wow, that's important. Tone. That's kind of pointless in a way.
Chemistry is a huge part of our makeup. It's a huge part of the world around us. And so I think that knowing about chemistry is really important.
And when you start taking upper level courses such as anatomy and physiology, those are very important, especially knowing how muscle contracts. Just knowing those basics builds and makes you better.
If you name it portfolio, that's really boring. That's like naming your book the book, or naming your restaurant restaurant. So what I would like you to do is try to come up with something that encapsulates your year.
I'm never gonna use like area, like to find a triangle, random place. I think that's kind of pointless.
Personally, I know I'm never, ever going to major anything in math, no, or like science.
It's really not about the specific knowledge of those courses. It's about, there are two things that they teach you how to do. One is that life is about jumping through hoops. That's just something you have to do. In order to do anything in life, you're gonna have to do stuff you don't like.
Well, I think they're important. And so just to have a basic understanding of those things, it gives you more perspective on the world around you.
They teach you how to think. And that, I think, is something that is incredibly important. Particularly the mathematics and the sciences are really focused on not necessarily data or information, but how you think about things.
Okay, so pretty much all of this is based on number sense. You're just making sure that you understand the relationships of the numbers.
Depends on the class. Depends on how in-depth it goes, I think. not everybody is going to use chemistry. So if they have a class that's really in depth, they may not need that class to graduate.
So if you were presented a problem in life, and you couldn't figure out how to do it, you have to have some kind of logical reasoning, sequential knowledge, in order to be able to find the conclusion.
The academic system of education is highly overrated, at best. At worst, it destroys a number of our kids.
I think to have a basic understanding of it and just general knowledge of chemistry would be important.
The way my brain works, I learned through calculus and particularly through sciences.
Core classes shouldn't be that mandatory, I guess. Because you know, whenever you're in college and you're studying something specific, like you're majoring in, I guess you want to make roller coasters building, I guess. Like obviously you're going to take like physics and stuff like that.
It might be simple, it might be a core class. It helps you set up what to know about DNAs and what to know about what you gotta do.
You have to have the problem-solving skills in order to be able to work through a problem. It doesn't matter if it's some kind of an algebra problem or if it's just any kind of problem that you're facing in life. You have to have that logical reasoning, problem-solving, find your way through the problem. See?
There's a seed.
I wasn't taught how to get a job, but I can remember dissecting a frog. I wasn't taught how to pay tax, but I know loads about Shakespeare's classics. I was never taught how to vote. They devoted that time to defining isotopes. I wasn't taught how to look after my health, but mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Never spent a lesson on current events. Instead, I studied the old American West. I was never taught what laws there are. I was never taught what laws there are. Let me repeat, I was not taught the laws for the country I live in, but I know how Henry VIII killed his women. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. Glad that's in my head instead of financial advice. I was shown the wavelengths of different hues of light, but I was never taught my human rights. Apparently there's 30. Do you know them? I don't. Why the hell can't we both recite them by rote? I know igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks, yet I don't know squat about trading stocks or how money works at all. Where does it come from? How does the thing that motivates the world function? Not taught to budget and disperse my earnings. I was too busy there rehearsing cursive. Didn't learn how much it costs to raise a kid and what an affidavit is, but I spent days on what the quadratic equation is. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. They made me learn that over basic first aid, or how to recognize the most deadly mental disorders or diseases with preventable causes, or how to buy a house with a mortgage if I could afford it, because abstract maths was deemed more important than advice that would literally save thousands of lives. But it's cool, because now I could tell you if the number of unnecessary deaths caused by that choice was prime. Never taught present day practical medicines, but I was told what the ancient Hippocratic method is. I've got a headache, the pain is ceaseless, what should I take? Maybe try some leeches? Could we discuss domestic abuse and get the facts, or how to help my depressed friend with a mental state? No, but learn mental maths, because you won't have a calculator with you every day. They say it's not the kids, the parents are the problem. Then if you taught the kids to parent, that's the problem solved then. All this advice about using a condom, but not for when you actually have a kid when you want one. I'm only fluent in this language, for serious, the rest of the world speaks too. Do you think I'm an idiot? I chose the solo over the political system, so like a typical citizen now I don't know what I'm voting on, which policies exist or how to make them change. Mais oui, je parle un peu de français. So at 18 I was expected to elect a representative for a system I had never ever been presented with. But I won't take it. I'll tell everyone my childhood was wasted. I'll share it everywhere how I was educated, and insist these pointless things don't stay in school.